Welcome to the All Access Podcast from the experts at Tebis. Each episode, we'll talk about technology topics, trends, or solutions that manufacturers need to know in today's rapidly evolving times. Sit back, enjoy the discussion, and let us know what you think.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the All Access Podcast. I am your host, Michael Thiessen, and we're going to bring you topics that might interest you. I think it should interest you because if you are a manufacturer here in the US, or even around the world, wherever you are, this particular podcast might strike your fancy. Why am I talking like that? Well, usually we speak about the mold and die industry and we talk about all the manufacturing that are happening over here in the US. Today, in today's episode, we're going to switch it up a little bit. And usually what we have is we just have one guest on this particular podcast. This time we have 4 guests, and they're all from different countries. So today we're talking a little bit about the aerospace industry. We've been talking about on a few episodes already on how important that particular industry is. And it's not just important here in North America, but it's also very important all around the globe. So the European aerospace industry, of course, is a global player. And there we have common names such as Airbus. We have Boeing, of course, here in the US. We got BAE and Leonardo and Safran and Thales. And I could go on and on and on. But they have a major impact all across the world. So what we want to find out is, how is the industry outside of the North American theater doing? And what are the other countries, what are they doing? And how are they reacting to that shift in manufacturing? So what we've decided here at the podcast, who do we have access to relatively easily from all across the country, all across the world, I should say. And for that, I dove into my pocket of tricks and got you guys 4 experts. And these experts are in the European theater, working within the Tebis theater. Of course, that is the easiest way for me to get to. And without further ado, let me introduce you the 4 individuals that I've chosen to give me feedback on how the aerospace industry is doing. We have from Italy, Giancarlo Grinza. He is the CEO of Tebis Italia. We have Guillaume Bansard from Tebis France, Pedro Nunes from Tebis Portugal, and of course our good friend Paul Skelly from Tebis UK. They all are experts in their field, experts in their country, and they kind of have their pulse on what is going on within their country, especially focusing on the aerospace industry. And we're going to be scratching their brain a little bit of how they're doing compared to the US and what's going on in their country. My friends, welcome to the All Access Podcast. We've got you all here because of one reason. And that reason is to kind of find out, how is, first of all, the economy happening in your country in terms of manufacturing? Giancarlo, in Italy, how are you doing with the economy? How is everything working for you?
Thank you, Michael. First of all, I would say Italy is one of the most active European countries in aerospace sector. The economy is moving. A lot of industry is moving from automotive, trying to increase their business in aerospace sector. In the last years, and even the forecast for the next year is showing a big growth. But the growth is driven by 4 factors: economic, technological, geopolitical, and strategic. Economic, our government is create an investment called PNRR based on innovation and space. There is a huge growing demand for satellite service. And also Italy is a strong export nation at the end. Most of our activity is for the export.
Yeah.
Technological. At the end, especially aerospace, is using advanced material. We do have a product with a complex part that require a huge automation. There is new technology, 3D printing, simulation, digital twin, that are really are making really this technological factor one of the reasons of the growing. Then there is geopolitical.
Yes.
In Europe, especially in Europe, the instability is rising. Not only Europe, but Europe, we feel very close. And then there is a focus on space security. And then Europe have a huge collaboration because most of the Europe countries are within ESA, NASA, and NATO.
Yes.
And then the strategic factor is the increase in military spending. Italy, for example, is looking to have 2% of gross domestic product to be used as a spending. So then,
Right.
currently, Italy is just 1.3, 1.4%. So there is still a huge gap before to arrive to reach 2%.
Right.
Then there is an expansion of space defense, and then dual user technology between military and civil. So at the end, I think these are the four factors that are, let me say, are pushing the growing or a space economy in our country.
All right. So you touched on the three items: the military spending or defense spending, the commercial airline spending, and so forth. How is it in France with Airbus right on your doorstep? How is the economy in focus on the aerospace? How is that working over there for you?
Okay, before to speak about Airbus and so on, I think it's interesting to briefly introduce the importance of the aerospace market for French territory. Today, if we talk about the gross domestic product, is 4.3% of the economic side. So it's very important for the production. In terms of revenue, it's if we talk in euro, it's 65.4 billion of euro. It's equal to 71 billion of US dollars. So it's
right.
a huge market for France. And if we compare in the past, for example, automotive, we have a big gap now in aerospace, because in automotive we have losses of 26 billion of dollar at the moment, but instead of aerospace, where we have a positive revenue of 35 billion of dollars. So it's very interesting to know that. Why it's important? It's because the economic orientation of the country is based more actively at the moment in aerospace, in terms of different topics. It could be for meaning new material, but it could be for a line of the new technology, because as you know, the aerospace is more and more diversity. They have a big part of automation, but they have a big part of new material technology, like ceramic, like composite, and so on. So this is something we need to take in consideration. And the good point at the moment, it's the French government invest a lot in this aerospace technology.
Yeah, so you also see that growth in aerospace work is happening also in your country there quite a bit then.
Yeah. To give you more detail, we are now in the same step that before the pandemic. We arrived in the same level of activity for aerospace.
Yes.
And the objective for this year is to growing again to 10 or 15%. This is the forecast for the France country at the moment.
Nice. Pedro, in Portugal, aerospace, and you and I have talked about this before, there seems to be an increasing demand. I know it's not a lot of die and mold, but how is the aerospace sector doing in your country?
Michael, like we discussed, it's not really an option to go to aerospace. We are a very small country, but there is a lot of things going on because, like Giancarlo and I think Guillaume explained, we are also having a motivation from the European Union to, let's say, spend 2% of our international or to our, let's say, income. There is the first challenge because this 2%, I think, it's too fast for everyone because there will be some blocking points for sure. But this shows up how the urgency of this matter. Unfortunately, it's not only for good reasons because aerospace includes, as we know, also the military branch, and is also related to that. It is expected that in our country, so we have already companies like Embraer and Airbus, Aeronova, among others. So some giants already in our country, and for our country, it's really already some heavy stuff. We have also the investment from Lufthansa Technik in the north that will be starting the plant in the next month to be operational. I think it's 2027 in full operation with MRO and also producing parts. And it's expected that until 2031, aerospace, let's say, increases about 50%, 50,
Right.
in our country. So it's not really a trend. We will go there even if we don't want it, we will go there because some of our main customers are going there. I can tell you there is a national agency, is AED, which is a cluster collecting all the, let's say, synergies with the potential manufacturers, and the main tool makers that normally make tools for automotive are part of this. So I know that's not easy to step into aeronautics, but I think everyone knows this. But this is clearly not a trend; it's a reality already happening. And
Right.
if you want to keep your customers, then you have to, let's say, support them with their technology. So this is
Right.
clear that it's already here. If I think it was maybe you mentioning if this already started, we are already late if we start now.
Right. Well, the aerospace business is not going away.
Yeah.
Paul, in the UK, obviously you have one of the most important engine manufacturers for the aerospace industry with Rolls-Royce right there. How is the business in the UK? Do you see a shift happening from automotive doing more aerospace, or how also is that economy happening or establishing itself with the aerospace in the UK?
Yeah, I think for sure, Michael. I think if we were to compare automotive industry compared to aerospace in the UK, roughly at the moment, automotive is double. But if we take it out into consideration and put it into to a figure, aerospace generally, if we take into consideration of defence as well, is worth about £38 billion. But to give you some sort of an idea, this has grown by about 16% over the last 10 years. But as part of this, obviously, we know the situation in the world at the minute, where we see an increase in defence spending generally, which for sure will increase this year, as with the other countries. But equally, space exploration is a big factor now in the UK. And we see all of these things like with, if you like, our friend Mr. Musk, with satellites going up, communications and things like this. And this is something that's being expanded in the UK with several vertical launch sites as well now. I think we're at about 9 places in the UK where we can launch space vehicles from. for commercial use. And if we think this is worth about 18, 19 billion as it is, and we see an increase probably between now and 2030 of maybe another 10 billion on this of increase. So this is something that's really major for the UK at the minute as well. But the UK is also fixed on new technologies, as you say, with Rolls-Royce engines, because environmental factors now have to take into play just as they are with automotive, such as electrification. And if we're going to go electric on or hybrid in engines for aircraft now we have to think about lightweight architecture for aeroplanes now. So as Guillaume quite rightly said, lightweight architecture with this advanced composites, ceramics, etc., and even the technology to drive these. And this is something the UK is really interested in at the minute.
Aerospace travel is definitely going to change. We just recently had a very interesting individual on looking at the forecasting of the future of aerospace and aeronautics operations throughout the entire world, but especially in North America. Of course, space travel, that's something that has come up over the last 10 years more and more and more. Yes, sure, in the 60s, the US went to the moon. It was that big space race. And then after that, it kind of dwindled off. We didn't see much anymore of going to the space or going to the moon or anything like that. Just recently, we've seen an increase in more space travel. And of course, over here in North America with our clients, we see an increase of building rockets for satellite purposes and satellite dishes and all of this. And Giancarlo, you were the first one that actually brought this up in this round, that space manufacturing or manufacturing for space is also is on increase, especially also in Italy. So what do you see happening also on your space with this entire space thing? Do companies start to emerge more and more that work on thrusters or work on specific space type of environments?
Yeah, consider that we do have different company working in aerospace like Alenia, Collins, Leonardo. These bigger company are investing a lot. I will be in a discussion B2B with Avio, exactly because they are looking to create a good supply chain to support their business and their project right now. So there is really a strong demand, and the big challenge will be to identify whether Italy and the company in Italy will be able to support this demand, because this is really the huge challenge that Italy now is facing on, especially because there is this transition from automotive to aerospace that is not complete. It's just at the beginning of the stage.
Right. And automotive versus aerospace in Italy, Giancarlo. I mean, you have one of the most important automotive manufacturers with Fiat and all of those Italian supercars that you have in manufacturing over in Italy. How does that compare the automotive to the aerospace? Do you see mold makers or die makers are switching over to aerospace, or what is happening in Italy in terms of that?
I visit last week different our customer but supplier of big OEM, and all of them I visit 6 of them, and basically they are moving to aerospace business, and already 40% of their turnover in average between alls already are working on aerospace. So just to let you know that in the last 12 months, they changed a lot. And they were really mold and die, and they are moving to on mechanical side to work in aerospace.
Right. Do you see that too, Guillaume? That some of the manufacturers are switching because they have to, because the automotive industry, I think, is right now a little bit in a lull, and a lot of the manufacturers are kind of craving for work, and the only place where they can find it is aerospace. Is that the same thing what you're seeing?
Yeah, it's exactly the same, Michael. For France, as I said to you, we have the aerospace have a very good positive balance in France, and it's not the case of automotive at the moment. Even if we have Renault on the PSA, it's a good manufacturer, but at the moment the profitability is in deficit, trade deficit, and we need to invest in the place where we can have positive balance. And a lot of subcontractors decide to make a diversification in their production. So one part stay in automotive because it's one core market, very popular in France, and move in partial time of their activity to aerospace. And we have more and more demand like this. So it's not an easy task because you cannot think the production of automotive part like aerospace parts. The demand is quite different. It's a very big challenge for the manufacturer where they want to move to automotive to aerospace side in terms of, for example, for the following task, as you know, at the moment, aerospace need to have a diversification of sources. You cannot have only one sources for produce one part. Due to the COVID period, we have a big trouble because we cannot have access to certain type of part in terms of sometimes it's due to the material, sometimes it's due to the company is not able to produce this type of part. So now they need to have a very different sourcing. And for making this different sourcing, you need to track it. And it's not the case in automotive in the past. Now they have a big challenge to be able to track what is the status of the part every time during the production. And this is something quite new. Now we have a lot of better tool for that, like MES solution, for example. It's one of tool, but this is something this is the type of challenge you have not in the past in automotive that you have right now in aerospace. So it's a very big challenge for the manufacturer to switch in terms of technology of machine, but in technology of following tool to know the status of the part at each step.
The entire process is changing from
exactly.
switching over from automotive to aerospace. And Pedro, the automotive manufacturers that you have in your country, the companies that you have there, obviously in the US too, there's a lot of work in terms of documentation. There's this entire mindset, and it's a lot of work for automotive manufacturers to switch, but they're doing it because that's the only way out for them to get more and more business. In Portugal, do you see that too? That companies are going through that necessary step so that they can be still existing tomorrow?
For sure. The reason why this takes so long, let's say, this is the reason that the governments are saying that, okay, maybe we cannot do it 2% next year. Let's see if in 2 years, because, it's not, I'm doing tools now, and now tomorrow I'm starting to do parts for aerospace. This doesn't work like that. You have to be certified, and you have to have special expertise. It's not the same as tool making. We know that. Not only the mindset. So, of course, the tool makers are following the trend, I guess, to survive. Maybe the big groups will survive, but I think the government will also need to support some of the companies to make the transition.
Are these companies And Pedro, are these companies investing in like new technologies? Guillaume was just mentioning, yes, it's not only about new technologies, machine technologies and stuff like that, but also maybe MES system. Do you see that these companies, because they have to make that switch, that they're now investing in this new technology?
Yes, for sure. They not only the in machining technology, like for example, 5 axis. It's 5 axis is something that you use already in mold making, but now for automotive, if you want to, let's say, have a better solution for certain parts, we just did an implementation process in one of our customers that decided to invest in a specific machining center because he was calculating. I think it was 2.5 hours to make a special part, but then in the end, he decided that he could do this in 30 minutes with 5 axis and with our. Fortunately, we were lucky to implement there our
Yeah.
software. So people are changing their mindset. They understand that the business is totally different. Uh, yeah, for sure. And the big challenge we will get here in Portugal, I don't know how is this be handled in other countries. First will be the technology modification from not only from the machining, let's say, strategy point of view, also the machines themselves, but most dramatic will be the knowledge. So I'm not sure we can get enough trained persons to be ready. Honestly, I don't know even if next year we will be at 1%. But there is for sure a lot
Right.
of, let's say, efforts together. For example, with Italy, so our cluster AAD, Giancarlo, we didn't spoke about this yet, but there is let's say, a consortium being done between Portugal and Italy regarding aerospace, also with defense and military part. This will be happening in July. We have to discuss about this. So this
Yeah.
is something we can.
Well, I think collaboration between all the European countries is vital, especially for the experience level that you've talked to about, Pedro. That that experience level has to increase in a lot of these manufacturers because it's a completely different playing field. But it's not only the new production for airlines. And I was just talking to this forecaster too that Boeing, for example, has purchase orders for the next 15 years already of planes that are in waiting. The problem is there's not enough suppliers out there to do this kind of work. So what's happening is that these airline companies are focusing on keeping their planes in the air longer. Paul, the MRO is a huge, huge area, and I'm talking about the maintenance, repair, and overhaul section, where now these airline companies are having to go through and just make their planes safe, these older planes safe. And you've got a special exposition happening, I think it's in September, where the MRO is coming to London.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, this is a real big factor in the UK is the MRO. But one of the biggest problems at the minute is the skills in the workforce to support this. And whereas if we have companies that want to go into this field and are able to support this, it's now finding the skill level of people to actually get in there and do the job. I mean, if we look at maybe a trend over the last few years, we see an increase, obviously, in people going to university more. It's become more accessible, which is the right thing.
Yeah.
But also, we see a decline in good old-fashioned apprenticeships, which is where your skill levels have dropped. And this is something that's desperate that we need to get back, because no matter which customer I go into, it's always the same question. I have a skills shortage. What can we do? And unless we address this generally, and I think it's probably the same worldwide, this is a problem.
Right.
And this is where, as Pedro and Guillaume have alluded to, we need to have some knowledge built into processes
Right.
then where knowledge is stored. But still, even then, we still need to have certain skill levels.
Right.
So this is quite a big problem. But you're right, the MRO is very, very big, and it's very big to expand in the UK at this point.
Repairing and overhaul is even for some of these smaller suppliers that don't have to go through or don't know yet of how to go through and get all the permits and everything else. The MRO is a great entry point to do this kind of work through tier 3 or tier 2 kind of operations, because now you're dealing with other individuals that have the justification and the classification to work directly on those. And there's enough work that are on non-flying parts, such as tooling jigs and stuff like that. But the experience level, from what I'm hearing from all of you guys, from Giancarlo, from Paul, from Pedro and Guillaume, all of you are saying the experience level is going to be one of the biggest challenges that we run into. Luckily, I'm going to be biased here a little bit because you, Paul, brought it up. Processes and putting them into banks or libraries so that they're going to be stored, not just on the, and of course we're coming right now from the milling side or the manufacturing side with software. We can do this fairly easily by doing this with digital twins and all of that kind of stuff. So obviously the only way how companies, of course, gain that experience is to team up with either suppliers or machine suppliers to get that experience level up to that level. Do you see also, Guillaume, experience level that of course young kids are coming up through the ranks and these older individuals are retiring? How do you keep that experience level going between the different generations that are coming in?
It's a big challenge, Michael. Everybody talk about that. One point, it's for if we stay in the aerospace market, they build a lot of school dedicated, oriented only for the aerospace manufacturer demand. So in terms of tool path, in terms of how you produce a part very quickly and so on. And this is we have some new school dedicated only for this education start to grow in France due to the demand. On the other hand, we saw that a lot of people now take care about the competency they have on site, digitize the competency they have inside to the CAD/CAM side. So what I would like to say, they have big skills internally with people have a lot of experience. And the idea is to be able to produce with the new generation like they produce with the experimentation person. So the idea is to put all the knowledge of this person on the software to be able to produce the same part if you have an experience or no experience. So this is something we saw more and more. So it's very an important topic in terms of CAD/CAM side, because you need to have a team, your team, very accurate to help them on this type of request. You have two big demands. One part, it's you need to have the software able to answer of this type of questions. This is the first step.
Absolutely.
And the second big step is to have the team with the skills able to do that. So this is two big topic, and it's clear. It's as I want to say, at the moment in France, we have the second manufacturer for aerospace in the world after America. It's a big part of our activity, and one of the big things is the manufacturer come to us because we have this type of skills, and they don't want to have only a CAM solution. They would like to have a real support with research and development team.
Great, right. I mean, digitalization, that type of environment, having digital twins, and Giancarlo, you brought this up too with the digital twins. That is probably one of the most important steps that we can aid maybe the younger generation that are coming into this environment. Because let's face it, all of these young kids, or most of them, these young kids, are very good when it comes to visualizing or the gaming technology and utilizing that knowledge with the digital twins. So you have everything inside, for example, the CAD/CAM system, and doing like and working with that. Do you see that too? That in your country, the digitalization has stepped up quite a bit, especially on the CAD/CAM side with our machines.
Michael, thank you for these questions because just to let you know, last week we went to a school to discuss this point because at the end they see that they want to give to the students a new opportunity to learn what really the market needs. And we are very close to finish to create this educational partnership where we will offer our assistance to let them every year to have at least between 40 to 50 students learning what does it mean use an high level CAD/CAM and digital twin, supporting the growth of the educational in Italy. So we want to create a model not only by Tebis, but also using our partner to create like an ecosystem with the best competencies, Tebis from CAD/CAM, then even tool supplier, in order to work together and create these competencies that now are really focused on few people that now are even over middle age. So these I think will be the great challenge, opportunity that we have even within Tebis in front of us. I believe in each country, at least in Italy, is very I'd request.
Right, right. I think it's a key point with the different technologies that coming into play, especially robotics. There is a lot of area that can be enhanced in this. Paul, you mentioned also this technology change, especially, and I know you're doing a lot in the carbon fiber area too. There's a lot of work with carbon fibers and robotics trimming, and these robots have come out of nowhere essentially.
Absolutely. I mean, this is if you like, a cheaper technology than the old standard milling machine for doing this type of work, where it gives you a lot more flexibility, maybe at the same time as well. And when you think about from machining the mold into the trimming side of it, you can do so much more with if you like one machining setup in this case. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But generally as well with technology, as we talked about with digital twin, having everything built in, a digital twin of the whole environment, this for sure makes life easier in the workspace,
Mm-hmm.
for helping the learning, helping repeatability, and of course as the new technology goes on, even with additive and rapid prototyping, for sure there will still be a need for subtractive machining and the accuracy and new technologies in this area.
Right. Do you see a big change, Pedro? I mean, AI has so much influence right now in almost every single area that we have. I mean, we have Gronk, we have all these different AI engines that are out there. Do you think AI has a place in manufacturing, aerospace, or even automotive, where this can enhance the manufacturing process in your country or in other countries?
I think it's like AI is like aerospace. Either you go there or you go there, because precisely, in my opinion, because of the lack of knowledge. So this can help, I think, at least partially. To Of course, we will have to have some brains, real brains in activity, of course, but in certain processes and in some of the companies, for sure, or majority of the companies, these let's say AI tools will be, they are already a reality. and they will help companies to find the lack of knowledge they have. So of course, the level of knowledge has to raise. So I think I think we will not lose our jobs because of AI, like we hear many times. So we just need to raise our level of knowledge, and this will be, let's say, a natural thing that there will be, of course, some real brains that will be commanding these AI tools that will be in the end supporting the lack of expertise that we will see all over the globe, I think.
Right. I think we're not going to get around it. It's going to be part of the industry as we know it. Now, let me put a plug out for Tebis and have you guys go through that as well. Tebis has been around, of course, for quite some time in the automotive industry, particularly. And they have been one of the leaders when it comes to automotive manufacturing, machining, and all that kind of stuff. In aerospace, do you feel that Tebis is good positioned as a software product for to doing this kind of work? And what stands out in your country? What particular type of aerospace manufacturing are you kind of focusing on? Guillaume, in France with Tebis, what do you see and what stands out, or what technology out of Tebis makes Tebis the perfect contender for the aerospace industry in your country?
Yes, good question, Michael. First of all, we can start with the entry point. One of the big interesting feature of Tebis is the possibility to open all type of data in terms of triangle, surfaces, solid, curve. You can import all the data inside the software. And this is something really fit with the aerospace market, because aerospace market, so sometimes you have not complete finish data, and you need to work with it. And it's the same, more and more common task is based on the scanning data. And if you are not able to open and to manage scan data, it's awful. This is one first point, because if you are not able to read this type of data, it's difficult to continue after the process. So this is the entry point.
Right.
The other big point appreciated by our customer, it's the ability to be able to manage a very big, large of data. We are not very locked with a small part, because it's something very important for this type of market. Typically for aerospace structure data and so on, you need to be able to manage very big, large data. On the other big point, like you have well said, it's about the post-processor on machine virtual. This is one topic very, very important on this part. To give you an update, since two last months, we have developed 3 machines with more than 10 axes to be able to manage. Only the objective of the customer is not to have several posts on VM for one machine, but it's to have all the possibility of the 10 axis or 12 axis with only one post processor on machine virtual. Like the machine you have only one machine for all the kinematic, and it's exactly the same. You need to have the virtual object fit exactly with your real life. So this is something very well supported by Tebis, and this is one point very important. When I say 10 axis, it could be a multiple head machine, it could be aggregate, it could be lathe on robotic, and so on. So this is something very important.
Giancarlo, in Italy, because you already mentioned very, very early on, you've already been quite established in Italy with some of the aerospace work. What makes Tebis important in Italy in the aerospace sector? What stands out?
I believe that the quality level that is required for aerospace, it's really and how Tebis is able even to manage complex geometry is really a key factor for Tebis to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, I would also to mention our MAS system. It will also give a huge benefit to the company who will use it to manage their production. Instead to work in emergency situation, it can really work in a structured way. And this is even from traceability point of view that a key point in aerospace industry will be a good advantage.
Right. Pedro, how about you?
Well, I can speak about some experiences we had in with two new customers from aeronautics that besides the this let's say advantage that we can import directly the majorities of the files is clear. It was the last customer. It was a really a goal that we, you know that as they are ISO 9011, I think
9001.
9001, yeah, 100, I think, for aeronautics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they should have CATIA. We have always this blocking point of CATIA, you know. So some of them they will have a CATIA license, but then they need some, let's say, software like ours, and they need to make it direct import. This is one of the features they saw a lot of advantage. And also in one of our customers, again speaking about knowledge, this guy was programming a lot by hand, you know, without software, on the mainly on the latte equipment. And now, as there are so few suppliers in the aeronautics, he he was doing the same parts for 10 years, but now there are new parts coming up. So he needs to the need to program. It's let's say you need to program more than in the past because you are
Right.
doing many new different parts. And so his son, in this case, his son was not so acquainted with programming, and it was the opportunity to start to make programming the software. So this was stepping in. Uh, Another very good feature of Tebis is the measuring in the machine. So these
Mm-hmm.
guys they need to measure 100% of the parts. So at the moment, let's see if we can show this on next sales meeting next year. We are making a project with them to approve our measuring method instead of machining, storing CMM. So we are now making this project to measure directly in the machine. So there are
Right.
a lot of opportunities identified.
Right. Paul, in the UK, what seems to be important for those manufacturers, especially when they're looking at software? What's important there, and how does Tebis stand out there?
Sure. I mean, let's take the maybe one of the first points when we hear a lot about Industry 4.0.
Yes.
And what is this? I mean, this is we talk about digital twins, and maybe when people think digital twins, they think maybe simulation of the machine or something like this. But really, digital twin is the complete environment. Okay, and this is something that Tebis is great at. This is something that we do. We offer the complete digital environment of the workforce, the manufacturing environment in the software, and it's tailored towards each individual customer because we all have different machines, we all have different cutting
Right.
tools, work holding, etc. The next thing I would suggest is the intelligent manufacturing with automation
Right.
in the
Right.
software. Now, this is something that is core to Tebis. Yeah, this is something we encourage from day one. And why? Because we've talked today about skill shortages, putting the learning into the software. So if we take on new staff or if people are off sick, we can keep repeatedly reproducing parts to the same quality level every time. And this is important,
Right.
the same quality level every time, no matter who does
Right.
it. And then we think about the aerospace industry as a whole, where if we want to be competitive, we need to be both
Right.
flexible and
Right.
efficient. And again, this is automation because in Tebis, we're not script
Right.
based.
Right.
We're a set of toolpaths, but it's intelligent toolpaths where we can flexibly add toolpaths in. We can remove toolpaths.
Right. Well, automation, I think, is hugely important, Paul, and
massively important to becoming flexible, to be flexible and efficient
right.
at the same time. And this is, for me, this is the big key factor.
Right.
But what we shouldn't forget, Michael, is what we can do to support this as well. Because remember, Tebis is not just CAD CAM software, but or an MES,
Okay.
but Tebis also has got the skills and know-how in-house. For one, we can help you with consultancy
Right.
to understand your processes and improve them. But also, we've got the know-how and background to support implementation
Yeah.
with both training and on-site services to help customers, prospects become more efficient with the software as a
I think
whole.
that stands out in all the countries, that all of you guys are experts and have come out of the industry and know the industry quite well, and it can give advice to a lot of these companies. And I know I could be talking to you guys hours and hours and hours about that particular topic, because all of you guys have seen what difference Tebis can make in manufacturing in your own countries with companies that have switched over from other systems to Tebis. And I think it's important for a lot of companies to see that Tebis is also importantly successful in the aerospace industry. Give me your final thoughts of where this is going, what Tebis in your country is doing to enhance it, and give us some final thoughts to our listeners of maybe where they can contact you. Giancarlo, start that off, please.
I would like to follow what Paul say. At the end, I fully agree 100%. I think that we have the right tool to support the transition of many our customer or even potential customer. So I believe we can make the difference to let them to be really efficient and to give a right quality required, especially in aerospace. The quality level that we can prove is not something fake, is really, because we have different example already today where we can stand up all the other based on our great tool. So let's work on that and be successful, especially for the opportunity and the challenge that we have in front of us.
Right. Guillaume, how about in France? Your final thoughts on the industry and your manufacturers, and where they can reach out to you.
Okay, like I joined my colleague about the status of Tebis, like Pedro, Giancarlo, and Paul said. But one point that our customer like to say, it's with Tebis we are more relaxed because we are the full control of all, and we have very less stress than with the solution they have before. So I think the best way is just if you have a problem of security, of problem of productivity or quality, please come to say hello, and we can take a look we can take a look and give us an answer to your problem, and not globally.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pedro, in Portugal.
Yeah. Well, in Portugal, although I still believe that, let's say, mold making for automotive will not die, they will continue, but with a lot of fights, and we will continue to help them on improve the efficiency to fight the cost war we have. The majority of the strategies we are already there. I think we need to get ourselves known in the market as a very good solution, because our, let's say, our flags in terms of efficiency and quality of the surface, which is also very important for the stress of the aeronautic parts. And for sure, our one of our biggest flags, the safety. So our digital twins, and the way
Yeah.
we can, let's say, reproduce digitally. It's very important, because one part For a medium-sized part for aeronautics can take you 3 to 4 hours to machine, and you just, like we like to say, we can put our lights out and go home,
Right.
coming next morning. So I'm sure we are already there. Just need to make ourselves known in the
Absolutely.
French.
UK.
So here, yes, again, I'd like to just say that if you have a skills gap, we can help you with this. Tebis software can help you with this. Again, it's flexible, it's efficient, and as Pedro quite rightly says, safety is of paramount importance. This drives a lot of the development in Tebis. Most of our customers out there have very expensive machines. We want to keep them safe. And this is something we can help you with to become more effective, keep your machine safe, and be more profitable in the future. So this was our target. So my message really to our customers and prospects out there is talk to Tebis,
Right.
talk to us.
Well, I want to thank all four of you guys to come on the podcast because all of you guys believe that the aerospace industry is hugely important. I think it's hugely important for our partners, our friends that are manufacturing, because they need the business. They need to continue on working still tomorrow, and they need to have the diversity or diversifying of the products. It's no longer good enough to just be automotive or just be doing just one product item. Having the ability to diversify into other industries, I think, is the difference between making it or not making it. So thank you for shedding on some light on what's going on in your country, how important that industry is in your country. And I believe you'll see and will see an increase in that particular industry manufacturing worldwide. This was a little bit of an interesting switch on our podcast, obviously having multiple individuals on this particular podcast. I hope you all enjoyed the different topics. If you're joining us from Portugal or from England or from Italy or France or Germany or anywhere around the world, and you have an interest in the aerospace manufacturing, I urge you, look into it. There is a lot of business and a lot of work that needs to be done, that needs to be manufactured. If this is machined, if this is lasered, or whatever items you need to manufacture, the aerospace industry has that opportunity in order for you to be successful. Obviously, at the end, we switched a little bit over into the Tebis world, which of course we know in depth, and they are truly experts when it comes to Tebis. If you have a chance, or you haven't even looked into this particular software solution that is really key in aerospace manufacturing, I urge you, contact Tebis Italy, contact Tebis Portugal, and Tebis UK, and Tebis France, because they have the expertise, they have the product knowledge, and they have everything that it takes for you to be successful, because the broad area that Tebis can interact with and can solve is just immense. So thank you for tuning into this episode of the All Access Podcast. We really hope that you found the discussion insightful and valuable, and it made your world a little bit more interesting. Of course, this episode you can find on Spotify, on Apple Music, wherever you can find the podcasts in your country. Feel free to share this episode within your network. Leave us a review. We'd love to hear your feedback, of course. Of course, for updates, follow us on Instagram, on X, on LinkedIn. And do me a favor, stay connected. Until next time, keep shaping the future of manufacturing.
Thank you for joining this episode of All Access. Please leave a comment or review with your feedback or what you'd like to hear in future episodes. To learn more about manufacturing technology solutions and Tebis's capabilities, visit our website at Tebis. That's TEBIS.com.